So that takes us to Indiana, which I think everyone agrees right now has gone from, a team that made the playoffs last year, lost in the first round. They were building all these young pieces, of course, Caitlyn Clark, to now an immediate contender with all the moves that they've made.
They'd made you thought Sue Bird was going to sugarcoat it. Nope. She took one look at the Indiana Fever's title hype and said, let's pump the brakes up, people. Caitlyn Clark's got the skills because rings aren't won on Twitter or by dancing on TikTok. Well, let's dive into the spicy takes and hard truths.
I'm sure the way they're approaching this season has changed. I think the biggest part of DB joining this team is that she's already played for Steph. So I think that's going to help bridge the gap, because as we go along, we're going to talk about Vegas and Seattle, Atlanta. It's really going to be which
Stephanie
team.
White being the head coach of,
right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
Was the head coach of Connecticut, now the head coach of Indiana.
Yeah.
Sue Bird just shook the entire WNBA landscape with one take. And no, this wasn't some casual, oh, the Fever might be decent type of comment. Nope. Sue went all in. She said Indiana isn't just improving, they're real title contenders.
So Sue Bird is one of the greatest point guards of all time in the WNBA. And she's someone who obviously is a part owner in the Seattle Storm. So hyping up another team is a bit of a conflict of interest, if we're being honest.
Yeah, now pause for a second. Let that sink in. This is Sue Bird talking, a walking basketball encyclopedia, a woman who has played, won, and outsmarted defenses at the highest level for 2 decades. She's seen super teams. She's been on them. She knows exactly what it takes to win championships. So when she says something like this, it's not for clicks. It's not for fun. It's because she sees something.
About the experience, the champions that have been added to this country.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what everybody talked about when we were in the playoffs last year of, we really didn't have much experience at all playing in playoff games. I don't know what the exact number was, but we really lacked in that area. So just adding pieces of, players that have been in this league, they know what it takes to win. They know what it takes to get to the finals. They know what it takes to win championships. I think is exactly what we needed in our locker room. So it's just exciting, but also they're not only really good basketball players, they're really great leaders and really great people. And I know the front office obviously really prioritized that and looking for the pieces that we wanted to add. So really thankful for that.
Hold them up to the grown-up section. She's telling the league, hey, pay attention. This team isn't cute. This team is coming to wreck your season. And you know what? She's probably right, because this isn't just about Caitlyn Clark. Yeah, Caitlyn is a game changer, a player who can shoot from the parking lot and make it look easy. But if you think Sue's hyped just because of Caitlyn, you don't understand how her basketball brain works. Sue sees the foundation. She sees a team that's been putting in the work, especially since Caitlyn got there.
Kelsey Mitchell's balling, Caitlyn continuing to impress, and she's going to break records nonstop for the next couple years. Yeah. It's just going to be a constant record break.
And let's be clear, Sue Bird doesn't throw around the words title contender for fun. This is a woman who spent her entire career making smart decisions on the court, off the court, with her words, with her passes. If she says Indiana has something special, she's not guessing. She's telling you what's coming now. Obviously, nothing is guaranteed. Nobody wins a title in February. But what Sue is saying, and what people need to hear, is that Indiana isn't just a fun young team. They aren't just here to develop. They're here to win. They're here to push for something real. And that should terrify the rest of the league, because the scariest thing in sports isn't talent. It's talent with belief. It's talent with momentum. It's talent that has been told you're not ready yet and decides, actually, we are. Sue Bird sees that belief growing in Indiana. She knows exactly how dangerous that can be.
And a Fever team that are no, but players who will be free agents next year. There's a lot of other going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Yeah, now let's talk about Cheryl Swoops, because that take about real talent never choosing Indiana is starting to look like one of those cold takes that gets played on repeat with dramatic music. I mean, against all odds, players are choosing Indiana. Players want to be there, and you know what it's about. Caitlyn Clark, yeah, she's the headliner, the box office attraction.
And yeah, there's a narrative out there that Kathy made the call. All right, Kathy Engelbert. Oh, we got to make sure we get Caitlyn Clark the championship. And I told you there's narrative floating. Number one, they're freaking out. Number two, the next thing you're about to hear is Caitlyn Clark needs a super team to win a championship. So they're going to downgrade her status, and they're going to shit on her over that. It's already started. That's where they're going with this, folks.
Because Indiana is no longer some forgotten struggling franchise, it's because they're building something real. And when someone like Sue Bird says, hey, this team is about to be a serious problem, you better believe players around the league are listening. Because Sue isn't just throwing out compliments for fun, she's not on TV, just speaking around random hype. When she speaks, it's because she sees something, and what she sees is a team that isn't waiting for success, they're hunting it down. Look at the moves, this isn't a team just banking on Caitlyn Clark. To save them, they've been stacking up pieces that make basketball sense with plan to allow Caitlyn Clark express her talent.
Me and Sydney Colson is joining the Indiana Fever. What does that mean? Indiana is just being so fucking greedy right now. They took DB, they took Natasha. Now they got Sydney Colson. Like, why would they take Sydney from us?
There's the fact that free agents are looking at Indiana differently now. Suddenly, it's not just a place to go get some minutes, it's a place where you could actually win, a place where you could play on national TV in front of a growing fan base, and most importantly, alongside a young core that's only going to get better. That's what Sue Bird recognizes, that's what she's been loud about, she sees what's coming, and the funniest part, a lot of people refuse to see it until it smacked them in the face. Indiana went from being a WNBA afterthought to being one of the most talked about teams in the league, and not just because of hype, because of actual basketball reasons. Sue Bird sees the trajectory. She sees a team that's not just hoping to be great, but actually putting in the work to be great. And that's why for anyone still doubting the Fever in Caitlyn Clark's rise, still holding on to that idea that Indiana isn't a destination, well, you might want to start rewriting that script.
So it's really going to be the team that finds their chemistry. This season is short. I mean, they're adding games, but it's still pretty short season.
Yeah, still short.
And it's going to be the team that finds chemistry. So having Stephanie White there, having already coached DB, really does.
See, Sue Bird isn't just looking at the Fever's roster, she's looking at the entire blueprint. And one thing she sees that a lot of people are overlooking, Stephanie White is the perfect coach for this moment. This isn't just some random hire, this isn't a let's see if it works situation. Stephanie White has been here before. She knows how to handle talent, how to manage expectations, and most importantly, how to win. And let's not forget, she's already coached Danana Bonner before. That chemistry already built. She knows how to get the best out of her, how to fit her into a system, and how to make sure she complements the weapons Indiana already has. And let's be real, Bonner is no ordinary player. She's experienced, versatile, and still a problem for defenders. Having her step into this Fever team with a coach who knows exactly how to use her, in addition to what Caitlyn Clark can bring to the table, the Indiana Fever title race, what can turn to reality.
What the Indiana Fever did last night got me so excited. The Fever, if you haven't been paying attention, they are really active in ensuring that Caitlyn Clark and company have a true contending lineup next season. They have Caitlyn Clark, they have Aaliyah Boston, they made sure that they re-signed Kelsey Mitchell. That was a big one. They acquired both Natasha Howard and DeWanna Bonner. They traded for Sophie Cunningham. They still have Lexi Hull. And now they have made a move that is literally my favorite of WNBA free agency. They have signed Sydney Colson, face of the WNBA. If you know you.
Meanwhile, other teams are making flashy moves, stacking up talent, but they've got one big problem. Chemistry doesn't happen overnight. You don't just throw a bunch of names on a roster and expect it to work instantly. That's why some of these super teams stumble out of the gate, figuring out rotations, learning tendencies, getting comfortable in a system. It all takes time, but Indiana is built for a fast start, while other teams are figuring out how to play together. The Fever are ready to go from day one. Caitlyn Clark is stepping into a system that already suits her skill set. Aaliyah Boston doesn't have to adjust. She's already dominant. Bonner, she knows how Stephanie White operates, and White, she knows how to maximize this team now. That's the advantage. Bird sees the Fever aren't waiting around to find their identity. They already have one, while other teams are still figuring out who takes the last shot. Indiana is running their offense like a machine, while other teams are debating who their leaders are. The Fever already have Caitlyn Clark, Boston, Bonner, and White setting the tone.
Sophie Cunningham is there to be basically the enforcer. She played a lot of the 5 at Phoenix. She literally played 1 through 5. She guarded 1 through 5 at Phoenix. There is maybe a not more versatile glue player in the WNBA than Sophie Cunningham. There are better players, there are more versatile players, but no more versatile glue players than 100k a year than Cunningham. She's almost a one of a kind in what she does.
Spurred recognizes that Indiana isn't just stacking names, they're building a unit. And in a league where teams can take half a season just to figure things out, the Fever's ability to gel immediately could be the difference between a slow climb and a dominant season from the start. And if that happens, if Indiana storms out of the gates while other teams are still putting the puzzle together, it's going to be a scary sight for the rest of the league. The Fever aren't here to play around, they're here to win now. And if you still think this is some long-term rebuild project, you haven't been paying attention.
She's a gem. I didn't know her, but All-Star Weekend, we kind of bantered back and forth a little bit. And she's lovely. She has a lot of pressure on her shoulders. And I think a lot of people always have a lot to say with people they don't even know or shoes they've never been in. And for me, I think she's handling the pressure very well. She's doing a lot of great things for women's basketball. And I'm a fan. Like, I would love to play with her one day.
Wilson from the Asians. She is 100% vibes. She is 100% going to be a backup for Caitlyn. It's going to be fantastic backup for Kelsey. Like, she is a great addition to this backcourt. She has senior leadership. She has championship experience. She is the most fun ever. And Stephanie White and the Indiana Fever front office is not messing around. They are putting everything in place to make sure that this year is a championship caliber team, and every addition it gets better and better and better.
Is going to the Indiana Fever. I don't think anyone saw this in the cards, literally. I personally feel like it's a good pickup. I think it's a well upgrade over Erica Wheeler. No shade to her. A lot of people are like surprised as to why she didn't stay in Vegas. And in all honesty, there's a lot of reasons why she may feel called to